Would you say that growing up with your experience that you had a certain chip on your shoulder?
Uh, that's a great question, and I'll have to send you a check for the therapy. I don't, I don't think it was a chip on my shoulder as much as it was two epiphanies.
Mm.
Okay, so I never really had a chip. I was too busy and too hungry. I always wanted to get a date with a girl. That wasn't happening when you were broke. And I
I
always
get
wanted to have donuts and cool things to eat at the house. That wasn't happening. But then as I got my own businesses, I could buy my own stuff. But these two moments sink in for the what wasn't my chip. Number one, wherever you're at, Dodge Meadows, I know you're out there. I'm now a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so I can fight now. But I could not
awesome.
fight as a kid to save my life, and I was skinny, and there was a kid named no, not Dodge Meadows. That was a different kid that was bullying my brother. My bully was Will Dawson. Will,
Mm.
now I know you're out there. Will Dawson wrapped my head in duct tape. Oh, worst possible thing. But I
Oh
remember he
man.
used to just beat on me and pummel me every day at school until one day, and we don't have to get into the story, but I came up with a really funny thing just off the blip. He was beating me up, and I said, "Hold on, Will," and the whole school was like, "Fight!" They gathered around,
Ah.
and I just dropped to the floor and I curled up in a ball, and I said, "Go to it, Will," and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I just made it up. I said, "This is the Shandling maneuver. I'm gonna roll into a ball, and you're gonna kick me till you get tired, and then we'll be done with this." And he paused for a second, then he started laughing, and the whole school started laughing. And that was my first epiphany. I was like, wait a minute.
Wow.
I don't have to be tough if I know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it.
Wow.
My second epiphany was one of my mentors, Bill Kitchen. This was at about 15 years old. Took me on a trip with his family to Hollywood, California. We went out. It was my first fancy dinner to the Palms restaurant. And I was like, wow, they have lobster. And I remember BK was like, get the lobster, Matt. So I ordered this lobster. And I looked over my shoulder. And again, Mac D, you're probably too young. But the hot chick on TV back then was Vanna White on Wheel of Fortune.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
And
aware.
over my shoulder, eating at the Palm Steakhouse in Beverly Hills, was the Vanna White. Okay?
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, this is great, right? So I was like, wait a minute, I kind of fit in here. And then I started, because I was always known for being clever and telling jokes and just making people feel good.
Right.
We were laughing at our table. And I remember Vanna White was getting up to leave. And I felt this hand on my shoulder, my skinny shoulder. I didn't weigh anything. She goes, kid, you're pretty dang funny. And she walked out, right? And at that
Wow.
moment, and I remember, because I could see out of the corner of my eye the window in the valet, and there was Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce. And at that moment, I was like, wait a minute. And this is something that our listeners, if you don't have a Vanna White experience, I want you to have it right now with me, because I'm going to tell you what went through my mind. It was that moment when everything changed for me, because I was like, wait a minute. These Ferraris, these Lamborghinis, these Rolls Royces, these lobster dinners, they don't make them for people with four arms. They don't make them for people with two heads. And as a broke kid with a single mom, I don't think we really codify it. I don't think we really put words to it, Sean. But somehow deep in our head, we think that life is for other people. It's not for me. And
Right.
nothing could be more bullshit than thinking that. These people that drive these cars, that have expensive watches and drive $500,000 cars, we're the same as you are. We laugh at jokes. We get hungry. We get irritated. We have fears. We have hopes. We have dreams. The faster that the people listening to this podcast, I don't care where your situation is, the faster you can realize the deck is not stacked against you. The world is not out to get you. The world is simply a game, just like Monopoly, checkers, or chess. And when you start to learn, here's the rules of the game. I'm going to play by the rules at first. And then when you learn, like I teach at Easton University, when you learn the rules of the matrix, then you can start bending the rules of the matrix. But success is out there for every single person to have. And by the way, you're starting this whole crap with we have to have equity and everybody needs a. I'm just sorry. As a kid that had a mom with made $4,000, it don't matter where you start from. Your starting position in life is about this little tiny of your success, and you can catch up to anybody like that. Snap of the fingers, you can catch up to them. It starts in your mind, and it starts realizing, hey, I can acquire this stuff. This is easy. Now that I know I want to get that, what do I have to do to get that? Who do I need to talk to? What do I need to learn? What do I need to do every day? And if you're willing to put in the sacrifices, you'll get it. All of the stuff that people want is super easy to get. Real easy to get. I'm sorry. If anybody could have not got it, it would have been me. I wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I seem to figure it out. So if I can figure it out with a mom that made $4,000, Mac D's going to figure it out, and all the listeners are going to figure it out.